like the best video ever.
This is crazy.
We got 25 minutes. We gotta go.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday.
Welcome back. What is going on, family? Season 2. Welcome back, Janelle. How was your break?
It was great. I had some B-Day festivities. Got to relax a little bit. It was great.
There we go. Skin is glowing. You look like you've been kissed by the sun.
Well, thank you. You look great too. You look like
Thank you.
Rest.
Thank you.
Yeah, building up some
stretching out. Been rolling out. Been stretching out. Doing my thing. Excited to be back for you guys. Season 2, guys. First season down. We just want to thank you guys so much to Say That Nation. We appreciate everything that you guys bring, and we're excited for season 2.
Completely agree with you on that. And but without further ado, we got some specialness for you. We got some heat.
Absolutely.
We got some fire. Some might even say we got the tea.
Y'all are gonna learn that Janelle saying, "I'm still lost on this Kermit the Frog thing," but
the tea is hot.
Right.
No, in all seriousness, we're really excited for what we have for you guys today. As you remember, we rolled out Bench Talk, where we bring out other people. We bring on guests, special VIPs who are able to just drop some knowledge on us and share some wisdom and impart value to all of you, just as much as they do to us, about some very important topics to consider as you guys are out there building your businesses, trying to get this done, thinking about what the next step is. We want to help you in that way.
So guys, it's an absolute pleasure. I mean, this season, I know we have a lot that we want to get into with you guys. We want to elevate the conversation. And so we thought it only, and I hope I'm saying this right, apropos, right, that we kicked this season off with a really powerful question, which one that is, I think, probably been on the top of everyone's mind over the last 18 months. And bring you guys, to Janelle's point, someone on Bench Talk, a brother from another for me, a gentleman that, in fact, in some sense, inspired this show. Helped me get started when I was a budding entrepreneur in terms of being an author. Gave me an opportunity to be on his platform. So today's question, I'm gonna ask Janelle for that drum roll, please. Boom.
Today's question is, what has been the impact of COVID-19 on entrepreneurship? Boom, 25 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
And the gentleman, guys, that we have that's going to be touching on this subject and sharing a little bit about his life is a good friend of mine, Mr. Michael Finkel. Woo! Let's go, baby.
Yes.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, Michael, what's going on, brother? So happy to have you on with us today. Again, like I said in the intro, brother, you definitely inspired me. When we talked last year, I had just written a book. Honestly, had no idea what I was going to be doing for the launch. One of the things that we had to look at was how to launch it virtually. I was blessed to meet you in a Facebook group that somebody invited me to. You reached out, like the entrepreneur you are, and invited me onto your show. And it has helped me in a massive way. And the blessing is I've watched you since then. And it's funny because what we talked about on your show is a little bit about what we're going to dive into today. So I thought it was, again, how it comes full circle, how God works, that now we have you on our show. And, like Graphic said, you're in season 3. I want you to tell us a little bit about your journey as we, dive into this question in terms of what has, the impact been of COVID-19 on the market space of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say thank you again for this opportunity. I'm not used to being on this side. I'm so used to asking questions. So thank you so much. And you made me tear up as you said, I inspired you. I just, okay, wow. Didn't really think that deep, but I really appreciate that. And we know that our work is not in vain. So
Amen.
we appreciate you all for this platform. And so just a little bit about myself when comes down to my platform. The Michael Finkley Show started a year and a half ago in the back room of my mom's house and during COVID-19. And this is something I always wanted to do. And I never knew how to get started. You know, people say this, that, and the other. I already knew what I wanted in my mind, what it looked like. But again, I didn't know anything about any videos or how to reach out to people or, anything, nothing. Podcast, what? What are you talking about? So as you
Sounds familiar.
that's what I'm not alone. Yay. Wow. So, we're at home doing COVID-19, twirling our thumbs. And you know what? I'm just going to get started. I grab my phone, I put it up. I invited some people on to talk about the trending topic at the time, which was distance learning. So, interviewing teachers and students and parents, had them on, learn a little bit about editing and all that kind of good stuff. And I said to myself, I want to try it because I never want to say in life, wish I shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Never want to. I want to say I tried it and this is how it happened. The good, the bad, the ugly, all the above. So within that, I tried it and it was a hit. I'm like, okay, cool. So as time went on, more people reached out to more people, and people started reaching out to me, which still this day I get a little giddy because I'm like, you really want to be on my show? Really? Oh my gosh, I love it. So, and it continuously grows to the person that you see every day at Walmart or at the grocery store to people that you see in the movies on your favorite reality talk show. So it just depends. And each of them have their different stories. So COVID-19 was a blessing to me in that right because everyone was home, right? Everyone has a story. Everyone has the time now to talk. So that's how we began. And it's still going present day in season 3 right now. So
That's
just a little bit of that.
Yeah. Wow. I absolutely love that. And what I love about what you just shared is it's so pivotal to the industry that we're in, in terms of network marketing and relationship marketing, because we completely can associate with what you just said about everyone has a story and everyone's home right now. Obviously I recognize a lot of people are going back out into the world, but we also
Right.
realize that there are a lot of things that are being rolled back now because of this new swing and a lot of even the after effects from the pandemic in terms of financially, we haven't actually really seen that hit the marketplace because a lot of people who were on unemployment now are coming off of it. So, the next 90 days, honestly, 180 days, we're going to see a lot of, I think fallout. But before we get into maybe a little bit more, you mentioned during the pandemic is when you got started, but before the pandemic, you had written a book. In doing my and putting on my detective hat, having to do some
Hmm.
research on the other side. When we talk about what it means to be an entrepreneur, and I love what you said. You're gonna do something or try at something and see how it works out for you, not
Mhm.
necessarily maybe buying into other people. How did you get into writing a book? What was that journey like for you? And how did that ultimately, you think, play a role in leading you to the Michael Finkley Show?
Yeah, so I started my consulting firm back in 2018, and it's an educational consulting firm. We specialize in first generation education, so we assist first generation students through the college process. We train school administrators on the state of first generation students, and we partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first generation population as well. And so when we started this 3 years ago, the following year, persons always come up to me and say, "You need a book. You need a book. You need a book." Now, this mind was full of stuff, but I just had to organize it. Had to organize it and put it on paper. And so for 10 months, this is what we did through our experiences, through talking with people, research. We were able to come up with our educational college set. Again, for first generation students for grades 9 through 12. It's a book and it comes along with a workbook. They can track themselves all through high school with grades and college applications and scholarships and volunteer time. But I give them the experience and the know-how I learned through these 10 years in education, higher ed, and secondary ed. And so that goes along again with my consulting firm. And so I was able to bring the Michael Finkley show into this. It started off as in just educating me, bringing on persons that were educators, college admissions and, teachers and that kind of thing. But I was able to, not even knowing, to broaden my horizon on the Michael Finkley show for students to actually see what it was all about by bringing on different people with different career paths and stories in order for them to see the bigger picture. So that's ultimately, again, what the Michael Finkley show was about. But again, it just expanded to what it is today. And we still do that by basis of our stories that we deliver to the public. That's my newly designed website.
Congratulations. That's amazing. And what you're doing it creates a huge impact. It's really important because you have to start early, you have to start young, and you have to reinforce often. So that's awesome.
Exactly. Getting the information they need early enough for them to make these decisions. Because when I was in high school, I started off, I wanted to go to school, wanted to go to college, but didn't know the know-how. I started off in 12th grade applying for colleges, scholarships, missed out on so many different things, being the first generation. So didn't have the proper guidance I needed. So all the things, again, that I learned over these past 10 years, I poured into my book, I poured into my business because I want them to have it. Now they have it. Now it's up to them to do what they need to do with it to make them see themselves successful in the future.
What I love about that is it's interesting, right? So it started from a passion, right? A passion to really like provide value to others and seeing a need. And you right on time as you were wrapping up your comments about how valuable it is and how important it is, you said, and that's why it was important for your business. And that to me is key, because I think it's a reminder, especially like we've been talking about, like during COVID, like a lot of times it starts with a passion for what you want to do or how you want to help people. That's where it comes from. Like the idea to create a business, it's how can I help people? You're like solving a problem or a need. And then through that, then you also create an income stream for yourself, which is the whole point, right? It's very on target, like kind of like what we were saying for like what's happening right now. People are like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to make this work? And it doesn't have to be, although it comes, I think right now people are freaking out. It's kind of like the Maslow's needs, right? Like, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed myself? So like the money is the thing, but if people can put their passion behind, or at least something that they feel very strongly about, right, and that it's going to help people, I think that's what will make the money come, is essentially what I'm trying to draw attention to.
Exactly. It reminds me of the scripture where it says a man's gift will make room for him, right? That gift goes along with your passion. So if you follow your passion, your gift in life, right, you would never work a day in your life. The money will come because that gift is a part of you. It has to come. So that's what we always tell our students. Sometimes I feel that they either never heard it before, they don't get it, or they don't quite understand it, right, when they first hear it. But if you just reiterate that to them at a very young, early age, then they can be that success. They see themselves in the future. Yeah.
Now who's the pastor?
Yeah.
To that point though, and I think I love that you guys went there. What would you say to somebody who financially they don't see it, they're not in a position where they feel they're at need, but they should maybe kind of recognize that the way things are shifting, you're going to have to essentially pick up something extra that you're doing because financially you're just going to naturally get moved into a position that you aren't going to be able to keep up with we're not even keeping up with the Joneses anymore. I'm just, just in the terms of, and I'm not someone who follows the news a lot or anything like that, but I watch enough global economics to understand the way the country is spending money. You can't sustain this kind of stuff. We are going to find ourselves into one of the things I heard from a Jim Rohn audio, which was so powerful, is there's always a group of people, no matter what time of the, like, no matter what time or era we're in, that is going through a depression, and another set of people who are excelling and exceeding. So this idea when they announce on TV, oh, now we're going through a depression, trust me, there's a person, maybe not on your block, depending on where you live, but there's people in the city you live for sure that they are living in a depression. They have been living in a depression for years. It's in some sense a family thing that they've just been living through over and over again. So what would you say? I know you talk to students, which I think is an amazing age to really start talking to people about this, because, you know, Lord knows we went to, I would say, great colleges, and I never heard this type of conversation. I didn't have teachers teaching me around this thing. So what would you say to a part of your messages to that group of kids who just need to understand financially coming out and getting a job is awesome, and you probably should look into, like you said, leaning into some of these gifts and talents that you were born with?
Definitely. So I would definitely say exposure is something for them. If they're not exposed to anything in the sense that they see themselves in the future, then that dream for them is that much far away. So exposing our students, having those conversations with them as well. I always tell students, if you see someone that is doing what you see yourself doing in the future, ask to be a mentor. Ask, can you shadow them? Ask, questions about that industry, because at the end of the day, it's about networking. It's about getting to that point you see yourself in. I can't stretch that enough, in the future. And we have to get out of the box, think outside the box, when it comes to that as well. The olden days are the way of doing things are just so far behind us. We're living in a new world, especially when you mix in COVID-19. We're living in this new world. So we have to be more innovative with our thinking. So again, exposing students early on, having those conversations, and not only have those conversations, walk it out with them. Help them find various internships, or help them find, Uncle Bob that's, down the street, that's a plumber. And he said that I can shadow him anytime I want to, right? We have to put our words into action, especially with these students that we're dealing with now, because they're just so, okay, especially with technology, right? They're so go ho about it. And then also too, if they have something that they have in mind and saying that I really want to do this, believe in the passion with them. Believe it with them, because we may not be able to find the resources, but I can give you an encouraging word. Do it. Have at it. What do you need from me? Do you need a couple of dollars? Do you need to borrow some type of technology from me? Because that would make a difference as well. That would make a difference as well. When I was younger, especially when I wanted to get into the field of communications, journalism, that kind of thing, radio, or television, I had very low self-esteem and confidence in myself, especially with my appearance. I was always the darker one. I was always the bigger one, right? In that right. And people, even some family members, would say that about me as well. And it just really, really got me to a low, low level. I feel like if I would have just, again, stepped outside the box, if I would have had that person to say, you can do it, you can strive, you can do this, do that, whatever, in that right where I wanted to be at that time, then I feel like I would have been well along where I am today. I feel like I would have been on a network right now in so many ways, like an ABC or a CBS or anything. Is that right? So yeah, that encouraging words can go a long way as well through our actions. So those are the things I would just say to them in this time, right?
That's so sorry. This is so good. So one of the things that you mentioned is some of the stuff that you were telling yourself about why you couldn't do, right? What you were thinking like would be great for you, would be a good fit for you, maybe even a God-given talent for you. And what you were telling yourself. And then in addition to that, you remarked that like sometimes your family would even say some things to you. And I know as a budding mogul, I can tell you that there are times when that's been my, my stumbling block, right? Like you want to go out there, you want to do this thing, you're passionate about it, you know that you can help a lot of people, and then you have some of the closest people to you bringing you down, right? Or feeding into the negative things that you're already saying in your head, right? So it can be a stumbling, it could be a real stumbling. How did you work through that? Like what were some of the things that influenced you to get you through what was going on internally in your mind?
We're still working through it. You know, we're still working through it. You know,
Yeah.
it's a process. It's definitely a process. You know, first of all, I love the skin I'm in because look at this blackness. You see the smoothness. I love this. You can't tell me, you cannot tell me I don't look good. So that's not a problem anymore. You know, but when it comes down to the other aspects of, you know, I really had trouble when I was growing up reading. I hated to read. I didn't read well, right? Writing, you know, that just sucked to me. But this is how life works. I went to college, majored in English, taught for a few years, taught on collegiate level and on the secondary level. I'm just like, who does that, right? Who does that? Now I'm doing this, right? So it's just amazing to see. I hated my voice at one point. But persons then later on in life was, oh, you have a great voice. You should do this. And because of those encouraging words, this is where I am today, right? So it is still a work in progress, but we look in the mirror daily. We look at ourselves and we say to ourselves, we can do it. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So
Amen.
we can definitely take advantage of self-love, self-care. That's what I do as well. We're learning to take better care of ourselves. And Winston does an awesome job encouraging us by way of social media. But definitely in that right. So again, it's a process, just like anything in life. As long as you go through life, there is a process. But what I learned about the process, though, the process is for me. The process is for me. The crying, the tears, the ups and the downs, that is for me. The results of that process is for everyone else. So how dare I be that selfish enough not to go through my process when at the end I can help somebody else when they're going through? That's selfish. So I'm going through my process with my held head high. Some days, right? I'm crawling some days, I'm running some days, I'm walking some days. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get to that result because someone out there needs it. Someone out there needs it.
This is so good. This is so good. Janelle and I were, I think, how long did we probably sat in the car for like an hour and a half after we just got done doing an event and we were talking. And towards the end of the conversation, we landed up, or Janelle shared with me a revelation she had, which is so on point with what you said just now about she had gone through something very traumatic in her life. That might be something you got to go into her new book to get when she puts that out. And but she later realized after another person on our team went through something similar that she had gone through that challenging part of her life so that she could be there to help this young lady later on. And just listening to you say that, it was funny because earlier when you're saying, you know, you would have been further along had you had that positive reinforcement. But how funny is it that had you had that, you know, maybe you would have gotten there earlier and fizzled out because you didn't want it bad enough, or you know what I mean? Like
appreciated it.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. There you go. And I mean, how true is that in this business where, you know, some of us, we've been in this 6 years, 10 years, 20, who knows how long. Right. You have not yet hit a rank. You have not yet made it to the, you know, the pinnacle. And we don't realize that we're being forged through this process to help somebody that's going to come into your organization. So, I mean, man, that was so good. I see it in the comments. Thank you, guys.
Confirmation. Confirmation. So I have one other question. So again, just getting back to today's question in terms of what is the impact of COVID-19? What is the impact, rather, of COVID-19 on entrepreneurship? How would you directly answer that question? We have a little bit about your background. We kind of know your ethos. How would you answer that question? What do you think the impact of COVID-19 has been?
I would definitely say that, just talking from experience from my perspective, because that's the only perspective I can talk from, COVID-19 has had its ups and downs, but I appreciate it all. COVID-19 has allowed me to look in the mirror, first of all, because I have to take care of self first, right? If I don't take care of self, then my consulting firm will be blah. My show would be blah. So God to put a mirror to my face the things that I was not aware of that I was doing and saying. He put a mirror to my face, and I had to just look at the mirror. He forced me to look at myself in that ride, to get myself together fully. And in that ride, as I was working on myself, because God doesn't He doesn't wait until the battle is over in your life to get you to where you need to be. During the battle, He's preparing you for something as well. And He's blessing you continuously as you're going through this battle. So, in the midst of that, my business was thriving. My consulting firm, I did a lot of virtual presentations. A lot of organizations bought my books. So, I would say this during that time frame, even now, this is the highest my revenue that's my consulting firm has seen since its existence since 2018. So that's been a blessing. And then also too, again, with the show, to reach out to different people and to get them on and share their stories and inspire, to inform and encourage, all these kind of different things. That's been a blessing as well. So COVID-19 forced me to look at myself from the outside inward, and then allowed me to get reap the benefits of my business doing well, or my show doing well, the contacts that I've created, the networking that I've done. So you have to use. I've learned in life, especially being a spiritual being, the good and the bad always works for your good, no matter what. So this thing that we call COVID-19, we have to understand that it is still for our good. May not look like it, may not feel like it, but at the end of the day, it's for your good. Now, how are you going to attack it? How are you going to take advantage of it? How are you going to get to that next level you see yourself in when it comes to your business, when it comes to your well-being, when it comes to anything personal that you may be dealing with or going through or trying to achieve? How are you going to take advantage of it? It's here. We have no choice but to look in his face, or cry and laugh, or any other emotion that may come to your mind. But how are you going to take advantage of this time? So that's how I looked at it.
That's really good. I am the mental health part of what you kind of leaned into a little bit in remarking about that, I think is really important. And you're right. I think all of us had like a moment where we like slowed down and had to reevaluate and really think about what's important and where could we find the most fulfillment. And then again, if you're in a position, even those I feel like who are in a position like, but how am I going to feed my family, right? Like who are on that end of it. Because we were fortunate, the three of us on here at least were fortunate where we weren't necessarily worried about how we were going to feed our family during COVID. But even I feel like those who were in those moments still had a, like, for lack of a better term, come to Jesus moment, right? Like, what am I doing right now? Like, this isn't working. Like, whatever I thought that this was gonna be good. Like, I thought this was gonna be forever. That is our time. That is our time. I'm just gonna stop myself right there because I could feel another good conversation happening.
About to happen. No. And that's why we have overtime. So for all of our Patreon community members, we'll move this conversation over to there. Michael, closing word. I'm going to throw this up. I know we could find you on Instagram, all right, at the Michael,
Yes.
Or at Michael Finkley Show. What other platforms are you on?
Yes, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Visit our website. It's actually under construction as well, but we'll be up in a week or so at michaelfinklyshow.com. Also, too, if you have a Roku TV, please add the Greater Works Network, and you can catch our show as it comes every Monday or Wednesday. Monday and Friday on Roku TV via the Greater Works Network at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you can catch us on demand as well on Greater Works Network too. So we're out there.
I love that. And we're going to get into that on overtime because we had a conversation about Roku, and at the time it wasn't even something I was even familiar with, and now you've gotten your show on there. So I cannot wait to dive into that. But that's it for our time today, guys. So as closing.
As always. Remember, you deserve
the good life.
Say that.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have an amazing Wednesday. We'll see you guys next week. Season
Catch you on
2.
Patreon.